From the moment you were born, you have been violently indoctrinated by a toxic fairy tale, that a truly successful man, a great leader, absolutely must be universally loved by everyone. You foolishly waste all your precious energy trying to constantly please others, desperately craving their pathetic validation, and desperately trying to be the nice guy. You are completely terrified of offending anyone. You violently compromise your own core values simply to purchase their fake, temporary smiles. The brutal truth is this: desperately trying to be loved by everyone is the absolute fastest road to your own complete destruction. It instantly turns you into a weak, manipulatable puppet. Love is the absolute cheapest and most fragile emotion on the entire chessboard of raw power. Niccolò Machiavelli saw through the dark reality of human nature centuries ago. He declared a terrifying truth that makes weak men violently tremble: men are inherently ungrateful, completely fickle, and driven entirely by self-serving greed. They only love you when you are actively providing them with a direct, massive benefit. When the sun is shining brightly, they aggressively swear absolute loyalty to you. But the exact second the brutal storm hits, the moment their own interests are slightly threatened, that fake love evaporates faster than a drop of water in the desert. They will ruthlessly stab you in the back without blinking an eye. Building your empire on the love of other people is exactly like building a massive castle on quicksand. It will completely collapse the moment you need it most. So what is the actual solution? Machiavelli explicitly asked, is it better to be universally loved or deeply feared? And he coldly answered, it is far, far safer to be deeply feared. Exactly why? Because love is only maintained by a weak, pathetic sense of obligation, which selfish humans will eagerly break at any given moment. But absolute fear is permanently maintained by the terrifying dread of violent punishment, which absolutely never fails. Fear does not depend on their fluctuating feelings, it depends entirely on your raw power. When a traitor contemplates stabbing you in the back, his love for you will not stop him. But the terrifying thought that you will ruthlessly crush him into dust, that pure terror, will force him to bow his head in total submission. A massive number of people foolishly confuse genuine respect with cheap affection. You do not need pathetic hugs, and you do not need their fake, flattering compliments. You demand absolute compliance. True, undeniable respect does not originate from being incredibly friendly, it originates directly from a deep fear of your absolute capability. When people truly know that you are completely capable of total ruthlessness, that you possess the raw power to destroy their careers, their relationships, or their reputations, they will respect you on a primal level. A massive, dominant lion does not need the gazelles to love him. The lion only needs the gazelles to know their exact place in the food chain. If you want genuine respect, absolutely stop being a highly agreeable friend. Become a terrifying force of nature. Look directly into the modern corporate workplace. The pathetic boss who desperately tries to be friends with his employees is always the most brutally disrespected man in the building. Employees arrive late, they produce absolute garbage work, and they ruthlessly mock him behind his back, simply because they know there will be absolutely zero consequences. He intensely craves love, and his ultimate reward is total disrespect. In stark contrast, the cold-blooded boss who sets impossibly ruthless standards and explicitly does not hesitate to fire lazy fools, is the exact man who commands the most hyper-productive team. The team might quietly complain, but they are terrified. And because they are deeply terrified, they produce undeniable results. Absolute power cannot coexist with a pathetic, desperate need for validation. However, this is the fatal, deadly point that arrogant fools completely misunderstand about Machiavelli. Being deeply feared is absolutely not the same as being universally hated. Pure hatred inevitably breeds violent rebellion. If you irrationally steal the property of other men, or publicly humiliate them just for sadistic pleasure, they will deeply hate you and eventually scheme to assassinate you. True, effective fear must always be perfectly paired with absolute, cold-blooded justice. You are a completely ruthless judge, not an unpredictable, psychotic murderer. Never blindly touch another man's property or his honor if he has not explicitly violated your iron laws. Let them clearly know, as long as they completely comply, they are perfectly safe. But if they cross the line, absolute hell will immediately break loose. Exactly how do you effectively create this aura of fear? By actively drawing your personal boundaries in thick blood. The very first time a fool dares to test you, daring to disrespect your valuable time, your money, or your honor, you must aggressively respond with completely overwhelming force. Do not ignore it. Do not weakly say, "It is okay." If you pathetically forgive the absolute smallest disrespect, you are directly greenlighting the largest, most devastating betrayal. You must brutally crush all resistance while it is still an egg. When people witness exactly how ruthlessly you destroy the man who crossed your lines, the entire rest of the world will automatically step back in terror. Deep fear is the absolute most perfect, impenetrable passive defense system in existence. Every single great empire in human history is physically built directly on the bloody corpses of traitors. When you are inevitably betrayed, you are absolutely not allowed to show even an ounce of pity. Your violent punishment must be both completely destructive and highly theatrical. Machiavelli ruthlessly wrote, "If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared." Never, ever hit your sworn enemy with half your strength. If you consciously decide to strike, you must totally eradicate his entire capacity to retaliate. The brutal price of treason must be set so incredibly high that even the absolute bravest men break out in a cold sweat just thinking about opposing you. This is the true, heavy price of absolute power. You must fully accept being completely misunderstood by the masses. You must accept that weak, pathetic men will constantly label you as heartless, cold-blooded, and completely cruel. The Iron Crown is incredibly heavy, and it is absolutely not designed for fragile men who need to be constantly comforted. A true ruler is entirely willing to sacrifice the pathetic comfort of being a beloved friend in exchange for raw power and absolute order. You are not here to win a pathetic beauty pageant or a popularity contest among your friends. You are here to aggressively build and ruthlessly defend your own empire. Let the weak men stay busy loving each other. You will be busy ruling over them. It is finally time for you to fully embrace the terrifying, dark monster within yourself. Your unconditional, pathetic kindness has been slowly killing your spirit for far too long. Stop desperately seeking warm validation from the mindless herd. The only absolute, guaranteed safety in this brutal world lies completely in the raw power you personally wield, and the undeniable terror you can effectively project. It is infinitely better to be a totally isolated, feared monster who controls his own absolute destiny, than a beloved, pathetic sheep being gently led to the slaughterhouse. Violently throw away your desperate need to be loved. Equip yourself with the impenetrable iron armor of fear. Anyone who dares step into your territory must know one thing: you are the absolute law.